about regulatory protections, right? I mean, it is patents that exist for too long. It is licensing or copyrights that exist for too long, that system has been abused. And this is basically just trying to import that. That's what gives me that notion. But
right. And it's about the ability to pollute and the ability to deny collective bargaining. I mean, we have trade agreements with countries like Colombia where a trade unionist is murdered every other week. And when you ask the U.S. trade rep about that, they say, well, it's getting better. But they're murdering less people than they did maybe 4 or 5 years ago. There's a Monty Python sketch about one of these somebody objecting to cannibalism in the Royal Navy, saying that it is now well known that we have the problem relatively under control. So that's basically the idea that we're talking about here, and it's you're setting the rules for global trade by the auspices of multinational corporations that seek to benefit from it, not for the benefit of countries or their individual workers.
Okay, so with just the couple of minutes that we have left here, walk us through. Yesterday, in the Senate, something happened that I don't think anybody would have predicted 2 or 3 months ago. I mean, everybody sort of anticipated the real problem could be in the House, because the dynamic in the House is that John Boehner needs a certain number. Nobody knows what that number is. I don't know if John Boehner knows what that number is of Democratic votes, because he's going to lose. This is largely supported by the Republicans, but they're going to lose. Nobody knows whether it's at 25, 50, 75 Republican votes, because just of it's giving Obama a win type of situation. And
well, it's doing more than that, and I think we need to back up and just explain. You know, there are two votes. The first vote, and what happened in the Senate yesterday, was a vote on what's called fast track. And that gives the president authority to negotiate trade deals. And then when they are finished and negotiated and finalized, he brings them back to Congress, and under a fast-track process, he gets an expedited, guaranteed review and vote on the agreements without a filibuster and without the opportunity for amendment. It's just an up or down vote.
And let me just correct one thing. We should say he or she in terms of the president.
He or she, I'm sorry. Yes, because it's a 6-year deal.
Right.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. And that's one of the problems Warren has with Dodd-Frank, is that maybe this president wouldn't vote to undermine Dodd-Frank in the trade agreement.
But Carly Fiorina might.
Yeah, Carly Fiorina might. Scott Walker might. So that's her point. So, yes. So the problem that I think Tea Party Republicans have is that you're giving the executive much more authority.
Right.
And you're taking away congressional authority very deliberately. That bill came up, Trade Promotion Authority, or Fast Track, came up in the Senate yesterday. And Harry Reid is against this bill. And so his gambit was that, well, there were a lot of bills that actually passed the Senate Finance Committee with respect to trade, 4 bills, in fact. One is trade adjustment assistance, where workers who are displaced by trade get a little monetary benefit. One is an African trade bill, and one is a customs enforcement bill, which has a lot of the enforcement capacity of TTP, of Trade Promotion Authority and TTP, that goes beyond what I think the president and congressional Republicans really want in the bill. It includes a piece on currency manipulation that allows, it's much stronger and stiffer and forces the executive branch to really take a strong line against currency manipulation. It also has a human trafficking piece that, Malaysia is a serial human trafficking abuser, and they're a signatory to TPP, and this would essentially ban products made through forced labor from coming into the country. So Reid wanted all 4 of those bills to come together. And he said, if you're not going to give us a guaranteed vote on all 4 of those bills at the same time, we're not going to give you any votes for it. And McConnell said, I'll give you trade adjustment assistance, but not these other ones. Because the enforcement bill with currency manipulation piece and human trafficking piece is a real problem for TTP, that it could unravel the agreement, which has been negotiated for the last 5 years.
So in other words, Harry Reid is basically putting a poison pill into this this package.
Correct. And so McConnell didn't want to put the poison pill, didn't want to guarantee a vote on that part of the bill, or that extra bill. And Reid got all the Democrats, except for one, Tom Carper, to withhold votes. And, of course, this was on the motion to proceed to the legislation, and that's filibusterable, and it needed 60 votes, and it only got 52 yesterday because no Democrats, except for Carper, would agree to it. So you had 45 votes against.
So, okay, now, so what happens next? I mean,
what happens next is they probably try again. There is a block of pro-trade senators. Ron Wyden helped negotiate this agreement. He came out of a meeting and said, if you don't give us the 4 bills, we're not going to go along with it. There is probably an accommodation that can be made for Wyden. And if Wyden goes, he probably brings along enough people to get the agreement through. So that's what we're waiting on. Where is that negotiation going, and how will the White House play into that? The fight always was going to be in the House and continues to always, it will be in the House. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm maybe 70% certain that you're going to see this Trade Promotion Authority pass the U.S. Senate. I'm less certain today than I was yesterday because you did get, a great deal of solidarity among Democrats against this, unless you had what effectively are poison pills in the agreement.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like Harry Reid's strategy is here to delay as much as we can, because soon, in a couple of weeks, I mean, there's a couple of bills that have to be dealt with in the Senate.
Correct.
The Patriot Act, I should say the FISA Act, I think comes up for renewal. That's going to be contentious, particularly after that recent court case. I think there's a highway bill that needs to be dealt with. So if he can get to June 1st, then there's maybe a brief recess. And then they come back. If he can play this out, it starts to get caught in the sort of the whirlpool, if you will, of the presidential elections.
Correct. And it becomes a game of inches, and then, you have the budget that has to be dealt with, and you have the debt ceiling that has to be dealt with, and there's all these other things that would take precedence, and then you push it out and push it out and push it out. And yes, it gets caught up in the maelstrom of the presidential election, which, it wouldn't take too long. And then maybe you get the August recess and you get people flooding congressional offices and town hall meetings. So, yes, that's the idea, to lay this out. I think that's what Reid wants to do. And you had this amazing spectacle yesterday of Mitch McConnell whining about obstructionism in the U.S. Senate and how Democrats wouldn't even allow them to begin work on debating this bill, which is just such a horrible, undemocratic process, especially coming from McConnell, who did the exact same thing for the last 8 years.
Right. Well, David Dayen, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate your catching us up. Folks, you know now everything there is to know about this, both from a process standpoint, from a rhetorical standpoint, from a policy standpoint. So go forth and tell people about it. David Dayen, always a pleasure. Thanks so much, man.
All right, Sam. Thanks.
Bye-bye. And I'll remind people that the best way to listen to David Dayen or know what David Dayen is writing, to go to his Tumblr. So he basically has a Tumblr because he writes for so many different publications. I always go to his Tumblr every day because he's like a machine. He writes so much and knowledgeably. So check that out. Folks, pick up our app. It's free. I don't even know why I have to say this. I'm just doing you a favor. The app is completely free. Well, then you're sitting there going like, well, what do you get out of it, Sam? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to justify having spent all that cash on it. Because I thought by now I would figure out a way of making it pay off, and I never did. This is my business acumen. It's good that we have an app. It's easier for my folks to listen to the show. It's much easier for you to listen to the show. But at this point, we have the app. I feel better if more people are listening via the app. Then I feel like it was worthwhile, even though I haven't figured out how to actually make it benefit the show. Other shows don't have an app like this. So pick it up. It's free at majorityapp.com. Works for Android, works for iPhone. Also, you can support this program by becoming a member at majority.fm, or you go to jointhemajorityreport.com. Also, if you buy crap from Amazon, buy it through our Amazon link at majorityreportkickback.com. And justcoffee.coop, fair trade coffee, tea, or chocolate. Use the coupon code majority, get 10% off. They have free shipping now. Justcoffee.coop. And, I said this yesterday, but nobody did it. A review on iTunes, please. Come on, man. Seriously. Let's get it going. Marin gets one like every day. All right, folks, going to take a quick break, head into the fun half of the program. 646-257-3920 is the number. 646-257-3920 is the number. If you want to be a part of the program, of course, you can IM me. You can do so through the app.